Welcome back. So let's recap what happened last night for the Joker's Jackpot $100,000 to win sprint car race over at Eldora Speedway. Usually when there's a big race like this, it's six-figure payday, we are going to cover it here on the Rodman Rundown. We already did it with the Weikert at Port Royal. We did it with the two races over at Huset's and the other race at the Skagit Speedway for the Dirt Cup. So this is the fifth highest paying race of the year, fifth $100,000 to win race of the season. And a lot going on here with this one, especially with the Fox Sports 1 broadcast going on. And that's kind of the main, or not the main thing, but the first thing I want to talk about on the storyline side over here. We've got the finishing results over here. The black number is where they finished the race. The red number is where they started the race. So if you need to zoom on your phone and check out where each guy started, where each guy finished, you are able to do that. But looking at the storylines, looking at the race recap here, the Fox Sports 1 deal, I wasn't able to really, keep in tune with what was going on Twitter and stuff like that throughout the night. But afterwards, it seemed like, it just seemed like social media was ablaze with how successful it went. The first part of the night went very, very smoothly. The feature, we had a lot of wrecks and things like that that kind of slowed the program down. We kind of went outside that 2-hour window. But man, I feel like this race, this whole night, for somebody that's watching for the very first time, that has never seen a sprint car race. Maybe they just watch IndyCar, they just watch NASCAR, maybe they just watch IMSA or F1 or whatever it is. I felt like this race night had everything you could ask for a new fan to try and get them hooked on sprint car racing. The treacherousness, is that a word? The treacherous conditions of the racetrack, watching these guys get into some wrecks, showing how dangerous the sport is, which, has its ups and downs, right? But I think it kind of shows people like this is a legit thing. These are not just, your backyard hillbillies out here racing on the dirt track. Like, this is a real deal. This is a professional sport. These guys are risking their lives getting out there on the racetrack. The incredible on-track action that we saw in the feature, the incredible on-track action we saw in the B main, the sliders. You had the open red. We had plenty of opportunities to show people down in the work area, guys working on race cars, and being able to, myself, Blake Anderson, Tony Laporta, kind of, mentioning the small things throughout the broadcast of maybe you haven't watched before. Hey, this is what a wing does, and this is why this is happening. I just felt like everything you could want for a new fan to see for a sprint car race, they got it here in this one during the Joker's Jackpot. A lot of drama, a lot of comers and goers throughout the feature event, and obviously probably maybe the biggest star in all of racing getting the win to top it all off in front of a working man's driver like Anthony Macri. Not a guy that's on a national tour. He's kind of maybe like a guy that's not very well known to a lot of people. He gets a second spot. He gets a lot of airtime, and so that's cool. And then obviously, maybe the most popular driver in just sprint car racing, Rico Aber on the podium as well, was very, very cool to see. So looking over here, we mentioned FS1. The buzz on social media was there for sure. We'll start things off in the B main. David Gravel, after the DQ during the double down duels, had to start 12th in the B, got up to 6th, was running there, looked like he was just kind of, going through the motions, just going to try and finish that race and finish 6th and start at the back of the feature, loses a right rear into turn 1, gets into the wall, gets upside down. And so the defending winner of this race was not a part of the feature. And there was a lot of really good cars that did not make the show. And if you look at the cars that did make the show, it just goes to show how tough the field was. There was not a bad car in the A-Main last night at the Joker's Jackpot. There was a lot of really good cars that did not make the A-Main. Obviously, it was a very, very stacked field. And then the first thing we got to talk about as far as the A-Main goes was that big wreck on lap 1, turn 1. Buddy Kofoid going into the corner, I believe, made contact initially with Tyler Courtney, collected Bill Baylog, collected Brady Bacon, collected Hunter Schurenberg, collected Brad Sweet. And once again, I mentioned it in the video earlier today, but sending our prayers out as well to Tyler Courtney, who took that big hit. We did see some good news on social media, and hopefully we see some more good news coming out over the coming days on his condition. So yeah, that was a huge wreck. Obviously not the best way to start off the A main, having quite the delay to get Tyler into the ambulance and things like that. So that was a tough way to start it. But once the feature got going, there was some pretty good action. I did want to mention as well, I don't know how Brad Sweet was able to avoid the crash that took place on that first lap, went underneath of a car and just sheared the top wing right off of this car. He just went to the work area, put a new one on, and was able to get back out there. Brad Sweet going through the matrix right there. was insane in turn number 1. But hopefully Buddy Kofoid's feeling all right today, as well as Bill Baylog and Tyler Courtney. But then once we got going, Rico Aber would jump out with the race lead over Kyle Larson, and it looked like Rico had the car to beat in this one. He pulled out to a pretty significant advantage. And the track, I thought, was in really good shape considering the format. There really was not a lot of laps put down on the racetrack, and so that kind of puts Rob Plattfoot and Eldora Speedway in a tough spot. How much water do they put on it? How much farming do they do? All that kind of stuff was kind of, I'm sure being analyzed throughout the day. The sun was out all day long. It was not a typical night of racing at Eldora. There was only 5 races on the track, 2 hot lap sessions, and so they had their work cut out for them to not overwater and not underwater it, and give us a surface that these guys could race on. And I thought they did a really, really good job considering the format that we had for this race. Aaron Reitzel was up in the mix there early on in the main event. He was the Durst Dice Roll driver again after hitting it the night before during the double down duels. He got up to second at one point in time. And then, it was, like I said, there was a lot of comers and goers in this one. Reitzel, Schuhart, Carson Macedo was up there at one point in time. And then obviously Anthony Macri towards the end of the race came to life as well. Cole Macedo was impressive to me early on in this one. He was super good with the Outlaws back in May. He ran 3rd in that feature. Obviously got the win during Fremont on Monday night. But then he was up inside almost in the top 5. He was up to 6th place. And Cole Macedo, with that win at Fremont, you could tell that he is feeling really good. Unfortunately, he did have something go wrong on the car late in the main event. He would have to retire. He would finish 15th in the feature, but still, I was impressed with Cole Macedo. I'm excited to see what he'll do the next 2 nights for the Kings Royal. And around the lap 25 mark, with 25 laps to go, lap 15 into the feature, really good action through traffic between Larson, between Abreu, Schuhart, Reitzel, all these guys kind of going back and forth, and Larson's catching up to Rico, and Rico's trying to make his way through traffic. Just a lot of really good action there as they were making their way through the back part of the field. And the track is just treacherous, man. I mean, we saw it with how many wrecks there were last night, how many wrecks there were at the double down duels. The world-class drivers, I mean, these guys do this for a living. They've ran millions of laps around Eldora Speedway, and still, it was that treacherous where we saw all these wrecks, guys just running the curb and getting into the wall and getting upside down. It just goes to show, I mean, this is a man's track. I mean, this is what Eldora is known for, right? I mean, that's what I always knew about Eldora before I ever went there for the first time. You knew that it was going to be treacherous track conditions when you went there, and that was the name of the game last night. You had to be careful, but you also had to be aggressive if you wanted to stay up front. Carson Macedo, he would get to second on lap 25. He was making his way forward. He started 14th, was up to second, he started 8th, and then he got up to second and looked like he had a car to contend with Kyle Larson. Then there was a caution, I believe it was for James McFadden. And then on a restart, Carson Macedo came around the outside next to Kyle Larson, a double file start. He got a really good launch around the outside. They came down the front stretch. Larson thought he was clear, came up the track just slightly, got into the left front of Carson Macedo, cut down his left front tire. He slows down. Aaron Reitzel trying to avoid him, spins him around, and Carson Macedo's race would be over. But I think if that didn't happen, Carson had a car to contend with Kyle Larson for the win here in this one. But what can you do? I mean, it was very, very slight contact, but it was enough to cut down the tire on the left front. Anthony Macri, he was on the move throughout this entire race. He started back in 11th. He would get up to 3rd at one point in time, and then Schuhart was running 4th. Rico was running 5th. And then, like I mentioned, the Kyle Larson, Carson Macedo incident there would happen. That would draw yet another caution. And then with 5 laps to go, as Kyle Larson's kind of pulling away with the race lead, nobody's able to challenge him. Tanner Holmes gets upside down. But do want to mention what an impressive week it has been for him. Had a really good run at Fremont with the Outlaws, was second on his double down duel, was running inside the top 10 during this race when he got into this incident, got upside down. So Tanner Holmes is starting to figure things out. He's definitely turning some heads right now, and I'm very curious to see what his next couple of weeks look like with this whole Gio Scelzi thing. I don't have any information. I don't know if he's going to that car. But I think that he's got to be one of the guys that they're maybe thinking about calling. But Tanner Holmes, very, very good week so far here in Ohio. Obviously, you don't want to flip, but he still ended up in the 11th position when things were all said and done. And then at the end, Kyle Larson kind of just pulled away. He would get the win. And on the last corner, Logan Schuhart would get upside down, do a really crazy backflip, triple backflip maneuver off of turn 4. And so Schuhart would be okay. Unfortunately, on the broadcast, we're running out of time. We were way over the time window there, and so we weren't able to get an update on Schuhart. We had the podiums and we had to just kind of get out of the Fox Sports thing because we were running out of time. But Logan Schuchart was okay, able to walk away from the car, and he'll be back tonight for the night before the Kings Royal. And like I said at the top of this video, man, this race had everything you could want to try and show somebody the potential of sprint car racing. It was just chaos all the way through, drama, great racing, great action. We don't want to see big wrecks, but like for a new fan to see these guys, see a big wreck like that, like, man, these guys are really hanging all on the line. I mean, this is some dangerous stuff, and it's kind of getting them hooked in. I think you throw that line out there, you hook a guy in, and I think that last night we certainly hooked in some new fans to maybe start watching sprint car racing more often and maybe go into these races in person as well. So the finishing results, Kyle Larson gets the win. He started second. Anthony Macri, fantastic run, ends up in second. He started 11th. Rico Abreu led early on in this one. He fell back to about 5th or 6th, rebounded to 3rd. Aaron Reitzel, solid week, I guess you'd say. He was 4th, and Corey Day would end up in the top 5. Sheldon Haudensfield, Garrett Williamson, and Brian Brown would be the last car to actually finish the race in 8th position. Logan Schuchart and Brock Zierfoss round out the top 10. Then Tanner Holmes, James McFadden, Chris Windham, Carson Macedo, and Cole Macedo the top 15. Brad Sweet was making his way back towards the front after that first lap wreck, and then something mechanical happened on the car. He had to pull in. He ran 16th. Ashton Torgerson made the show. He was 17th. Brady Bacon, Danny Dietrich, and Tim Schaefer. Nice run for the 17 GP to make the show at a big race like this. Hunter Schoenberg, Buddy Kofoid, then Tyler Courtney and Bill Baylog would round out the field. Once again, hope those three guys are okay. Still waiting to hear some more good news from Tyler Courtney. So that was what happened last night for the $100,000 Twin Jokers jackpot with Highland Racing. Let me know your guys' thoughts on it. What did you think about the Fox Sports broadcast? What are you thinking about the comments you read online from maybe some new fans that were watching on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that? Would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. And we'll talk to you guys again here soon on the Rodman Rundown. I am not going to Eldora tonight, but I will be going back tomorrow for the Kings Royal. So maybe we'll see you guys there. If you do, make sure to stop and say hi. And we'll talk to you guys again here soon on the Rodman Rundown.